She was the quiet force behind a billion-dollar empire, until the man she loved shattered her world with a mistress, a stolen fortune, and a custody battle he thought he'd win. But Emma Caldwell isn't just a betrayed wife. She's the storm he never saw coming. In a courtroom laced with secrets, betrayal, and revenge, she'll fight not just for her daughter, but for everything they tried to take from her. This is the rise of a woman they tried to erase. I came home from a work trip 2 days early and found my 9-year-old daughter on her knees scrubbing the kitchen floor. Alone. That image is burned into my mind with a searing clarity I'll never shake. Evelyn in one of my oversized t-shirts, hair tied in a messy ponytail, rubber gloves sagging off her tiny hands, a bucket beside her, and her eyes wide and surprised. But not scared. Not surprised in the way kids get caught doing something naughty. Surprised like someone caught mid-prayer, as though I'd interrupted a private ritual of shame she'd grown used to. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even confront anyone. I just did what I had to do. By morning, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. My name is Emma, 35. I work in insurance, the kind that deals with aftermaths, floods, fires, car crashes, the grim tally of other people's bad days. I sort disasters into reports and spreadsheets. I've been told I have a gift for staying calm under pressure, for making sense out of chaos. People call me crying, panicked, hysterical, and I talk them through it, keep it by the book. No emotion, no drama, tidy. For most of my life, I ran things the same way. Neat, structured, composed. No raised voices, no wild surprises. Not after my first marriage, not after the early custody battles with Evelyn's dad. We'd made a little life for ourselves. Small, but whole. Then Brendan happened. He was charming in that disarming, slightly scattered way. Divorced, a little jaded but hopeful. A man trying to hold things together for his daughter Amanda, who was 11 when we met. I admired that. He seemed patient, steady, a team player. When we started dating, I believed adults could build something new. Messy maybe, but worthwhile. That if we communicated, cared enough, we could blend our little families together. Evelyn liked him. Amanda tolerated me. Brendan and I laughed, made shared grocery lists, split the bills. I thought we were okay. We moved in together after a year, a tiny 2-bedroom rental on the edge of town. The girls shared a room, the walls were thin, the floors creaked, but it was ours. We had pizza nights, birthday banners, pancake Sundays. Not perfect, but it worked. Then Brendan got laid off. Some corporate restructuring mess. He was looking for work, but weeks passed. Then months. I took on longer hours, more clients. Our savings thinned. The usual pressures piled up. That's when his parents stepped in. Just for a little while, Brendan said. Until things even out. I hesitated. I knew enough about his mother to know she wouldn't make anything easier. She was the kind of woman who called you sweetheart while slicing your dignity into paper-thin shreds. But the numbers didn't lie. I couldn't afford rent, groceries, and school supplies on my own. We said yes. We moved into their creaky, old house in a quiet Illinois suburb. White siding, American flag on the porch, a wind chime shaped like hummingbirds. It looked safe. Traditional, like something out of a TV show. It wasn't. The first night, Brendan's mother showed me to our room with a smile so tight it looked painful. Hope you'll be comfortable, sweetheart. We did our best. It must be hard for you to adjust to a real family. I should have walked away right then. But I didn't. I smiled, said thank you. Amanda got her own room, her own dresser, her special spot at the dinner table. Evelyn? She shared with Amanda at first. That lasted 2 weeks until Evelyn was moved to the attic room with the slanted ceiling and broken heater. Amanda wasn't sleeping well. It's temporary, Brendan said. Let's not make a big deal. So I didn't. I worked more, paid more. Evelyn adjusted, or so I thought. It started with small things. Evelyn laughed less, stopped humming in the mornings. Her drawings disappeared from the fridge. She claimed she lost them. Then the headaches began. Stomach aches. Excuses to stay home from school. I mentioned it to Brendan. He shrugged. Mom's just a little strict. Evelyn's sensitive. Then the sugar ban. Cookies vanished. Chocolate off limits. Some kids just can't handle sugar, his mother said, giving Evelyn a pointed glance. Amanda's birthday rolled around. Balloons, cake, gifts. Evelyn sat at the corner of the room holding a wrapped book she'd made for Amanda herself. No one opened it. I asked Brendan again. Mom's from a different generation, he said. Let's not blow it out of proportion. And God help me. I listened. It wasn't just his mother. Amanda followed suit, the mimicry of cruelty in miniature. You're not even really part of this family, she told Evelyn one night. I only found out because Evelyn whispered it to her stuffed pony, thinking I couldn't hear. Brendan's father was quiet, mostly stayed out of it. But silence is an endorsement, too. And Brendan? He sat in the middle like a man trying not to pick a side. It's hard being stuck between my mom and you, he told me once. Just try to keep the peace. I was paying their mortgage by then. My paycheck, my name on the bank app, my signature on the refinance paperwork. They couldn't keep up with their debts, and Brendan, jobless for nearly 2 years, wasn't much help. They had a pension, a part-time hardware job, and a whole heap of resentment. Still, I paid. Because I wanted to keep my daughter fed, housed, safe. Because we were adults. Because I believed we could push through the discomfort for the sake of something better. Then came the business trip. 4 days in St. Louis, conferences, hotel breakfasts, networking dinners. I missed Evelyn, so I finished up early and drove. Home on a Saturday instead of Monday. I imagined surprising her. Maybe pizza night, cartoons, just something cozy. The house was silent when I arrived. Too silent. I found Evelyn in the kitchen, a rag in one hand, red knees from scrubbing. Alone. Where is everyone? I asked. They went to the park, she said, calmly. I'm grounded. What for? She looked at the floor. Amanda said I took her hairbrush. Grandma said I lie too much. That was it. No anger, just resignation. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I packed our bags, grabbed the important documents. Left a note. You left a child home alone. Called it punishment. Took your real granddaughter to have fun. My daughter is not spending another night in this house. We left. Got a motel. Ordered pizza. I let Evelyn eat an entire tub of ice cream. We watched cartoons. She curled into me like a baby koala. I didn't say much, just stayed close. That night, the calls started. Brendan, over and over. Voicemails, texts. They were home. They'd seen the note. They knew I knew. Emma, please, he begged. You know how my mom is. She was just trying to teach them some discipline. Her idea of discipline is abandoning a 9-year-old while y'all go ride roller coasters? Silence. It was a misunderstanding? No. Mismatched socks are a misunderstanding. This was cruelty. I hit decline. Didn't bother calling his parents. What for? I'd done what I needed to do. The next few days were quiet. Evelyn began to breathe again. Real deep breaths. Not that held-in, tight-chested way she used to do, like she was always waiting for someone to tell her she was too loud, too messy, too much. She started to talk more. Little stories, observations. She asked me if rainbows could be black and white, asked if Grandma Brenda's allergy to her was real. I told her the truth, that love never comes with allergies, that she wasn't the problem, that some people just don't know how to be kind. Then I turned off the mortgage autopay, swipe, password, done. I emailed our lawyer, sent the documents, told him I wanted out of the co-signed loan. Then we went to the police, filed a report. Leaving. A child under 14 alone in Illinois? Illegal, especially when emotional harm is clear. They opened a case. Brendan called again. Emma, what the hell? Are you trying to get my parents kicked out of their home? No, Brendan, I'm trying to make sure my daughter never scrubs your kitchen floor again while you eat hot dogs at Six Flags. Didn't reply. I hung up. I didn't answer again. We stayed at the motel for a week. Drew pictures, ate heart-shaped pizza. Evelyn made a drawing of a house with a rainbow roof and wrote, "This is our house. Here I'm loved." That was the beginning of our new life. And it started with the floor, the one she was scrubbing alone. The one that broke me open. The one that reminded me exactly what kind of mother I was always meant to be. The storm that had been quietly brewing within Emma Evelyn finally burst open the night she read the journal. Her daughter's silent pain carved itself into her soul, and by morning she was no longer the same woman. She was steel-wrapped in velvet. Evelyn never knew that while she slept in the room across the hall, her mother sat through the night, eyes wide open, with the journal clutched against her chest like a war relic. The dawn of that day was Emma's rebirth. Gone was the passive partner. Born anew was a mother with purpose. Emma's first call was to an attorney, someone discreet, experienced in domestic disputes and custody arrangements. Her voice, though calm, carried an edge that made the assistant put her through directly. The attorney, a seasoned woman named Margot Pierce, listened without interruption. When Emma finished speaking, there was a pause. "You're not crazy," Margot said. "You're aware, and that's more dangerous to him than any physical confrontation. We'll meet in person. Today. Bring the journal." Emma hung up, then turned to the mirror. Her face was pale but resolute. There was no time for hesitation. At noon, she arrived at the law office's, journal in hand. Margot's office was a sanctuary of strength, warm wood, iron shelves, and books lined like silent sentinels. Margot, in her 50s, radiated calm authority. She took the journal from Emma with reverence, like a weapon in a courtroom war. After 2 hours of strategizing, Emma had the beginnings of a plan. Legal options, psychological assessments, restraining orders if necessary, and, most critically, an exit strategy. Not just from the house, but from the life she'd been forced to endure. "You need allies," Margot advised. "People who will believe you, people who've seen glimpses of the truth. Start reaching out. Quietly." Emma nodded. That evening, she invited her sister Nora over for tea. Nora had always suspected something was off, but Emma had become skilled at hiding her bruises, emotional and otherwise. When Emma spoke, slowly at first, then all at once, Nora's hands trembled. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" Nora asked. Emma looked down at her teacup. "Because I didn't want to believe it myself." Nora pulled her into an embrace. "You're not alone anymore." Days passed. Emma became a silent architect, rebuilding her life brick by brick beneath her husband's gaze. Evelyn, unaware of the storm mounting, found her mother more attentive, warmer. Emma read with her more, hugged her longer, and one night whispered, "You are brave beyond words." Evelyn looked at her mother with eyes that almost dared to hope. One Friday evening, Charles came home early. He was in a foul mood, having lost a client. His anger simmered just below the surface. Emma noticed the signs: clenched jaw, short answers, that dangerous silence before the storm. But this time, she wasn't scared. She was observant. He poured himself a drink, something he rarely did, and asked where Evelyn was. "In her room, doing homework," Emma said evenly. "Tell her to come here. I want to talk to her." Emma stepped between him and the hallway. "Not tonight," Charles blinked. "Excuse me?" "Not tonight," she repeated. "She's studying, and you're drunk." His eyes narrowed. "What did you just say to me?" Emma didn't flinch. "I said, not tonight." A pause. Tension knotted the air. Then, he laughed, dry and mocking. "You've been talking to someone. Who is it? Your sister? That therapist you tried to see before I stopped it?" Emma tilted her head. "Does it matter? You're the one who gave us something to talk about." Charles's expression changed. He stepped forward, but Emma didn't move. Something in her eyes made him hesitate. She wasn't bluffing. "Careful, Charles," she said, her voice low. "You don't know what I know." He turned away, muttering. Emma waited until he slammed the bedroom door shut. The next day she visited Evelyn's school. Her daughter's teacher, Ms. Holland, had seen the changes too. Withdrawn behavior, lack of eye contact, occasional panic when touched unexpectedly. Emma took a deep breath. She's been emotionally manipulated by her father, possibly worse. I'm working on protecting her, but I need a character record, school performance notes, anything that reflects a shift in her emotional state. Ms. Holland, visibly shaken, nodded. You'll have them by Monday. I'll support you. One more ally secured. Over the following weeks, Emma built a case. Every subtle slight, every documented shift in Evelyn's journal, every unusual disciplinary action, every time Charles had twisted the truth to others, Emma documented them all. She also began slowly separating their finances. She took part-time, freelance work under a pseudonym, began storing essential documents in a safe deposit box Nora helped her set up, and met with a child therapist to begin formal evaluations for Evelyn. All of it happened in the shadows, beneath Charles's nose. He noticed her becoming distant and accused her of cheating. She let him, but what Emma didn't anticipate was Charles's own paranoia. One night, he followed her. She'd told him she was going to yoga, but instead met Margot at a quiet restaurant. He sat in his car and watched them through the window. By the time Emma returned home, he was waiting. Who is she? He asked coldly. Emma placed her keys down calmly. Someone helping me fix what you broke. Charles's face twisted. He grabbed her arm. You think you can turn my daughter against me? Emma didn't pull away. She stared him down. She's already there, Charles. You just haven't realized how deeply she sees you? He shoved her, hard. She stumbled back into the wall. But this time, there was no fear. Only purpose. That night, Emma pressed charges. Police were called. A restraining order was filed. Evelyn was sent to Nora's for the weekend. Charles, screaming and livid, was handcuffed and taken away. The next morning, Emma sat alone in the kitchen. Her cheeks swollen, her spirit clear. Margot arrived with papers. It's time, she said. This ends now. Emma signed them. A week later, the court hearing began. Emma presented everything: the journal, school records, testimonies, her own injuries, and most powerfully, Evelyn's own words read aloud by a child psychologist. Charles tried to charm the courtroom. He painted Emma as unstable, jealous, emotionally erratic, but the evidence was a damning tide. When the judge issued the interim custody order, full custody to Emma, supervised visitation for Charles, the courtroom fell silent. Emma closed her eyes, not from relief, from preparation. This was only the beginning, because while she had won the battle for her daughter's safety, the war for Evelyn's healing had just begun. Emma turned to Margot. What comes next? Margot smiled. Now we rebuild, on your terms. Emma took her daughter's hand as they left the courtroom. Evelyn leaned in. Mom? Yes, sweetheart? Does this mean the monsters are gone? Emma looked ahead. It means they're not in charge anymore. The courtroom was heavy with silence after Emma's piercing testimony. Gregory's lawyers whispered hurriedly among themselves. Cassandra avoided eye contact with anyone, and the judge called for a recess. Emma stepped down from the witness stand with slow, deliberate grace. She wasn't just a woman fighting for custody or retribution. She was the storm they never saw coming. Outside the courtroom, her lawyer, Gloria Reyes, leaned in. You just buried him in 10 minutes flat. Emma didn't smile. I'm not done yet. When court resumed, Gregory took the stand. His lawyer tried to paint a picture of a man overwhelmed by business pressure, a provider who had stumbled but always acted in good faith. But his testimony unraveled quickly. Mr. Caldwell, Gloria, began during cross-examination. Do you remember testifying under oath that your affair began in late October of last year? Yes, Gregory said carefully. Gloria slid a printed stack of images onto the evidence screen. Photos of Gregory and Cassandra, time-stamped from 4 months earlier, laughing in Cancun, entwined at dinner, and checking into a hotel. Then could you explain these? Gregory's face paled. Gloria didn't stop there. She pulled out printed emails. In one, Gregory wrote to Cassandra, I'm working on transferring most of the portfolio under my name. It'll be ours by Christmas. Emma's in the dark, as usual. The judge frowned. The courtroom murmured. Objection, his lawyer shouted. Overruled. Mr. Caldwell, were you attempting to hide marital assets before filing for divorce? Gloria's voice cut through like a blade. No, I was just... Answer yes or no. Gregory glanced at Emma. She held his stare. Yes, he whispered. The prosecution called Cassandra as a witness. She arrived draped in pearls and confidence, but it disintegrated under pressure. Ms. Vaughn, how long have you known Mr. Caldwell? Gloria asked. Almost 2 years, she answered. And were you aware he was married during this time? Cassandra hesitated. He told me they were separated. Gloria handed her an email. Let me deal with Emma, then the money is ours. She's still clueless. Cassandra's eyes darted around. He lied to me, he said she was unstable. And did you help him hide assets? No, I just signed things he asked me to. Like transferring stock into a trust under your maiden name? Silence. Gloria pressed on. Is it true the luxury condo in Tribeca is in your name? Yes. And the sports car? Cassandra blinked, lips twitching. Yes. Did you report these as gifts, or were they part of the siphoned assets? From Emma's portfolio? Her voice cracked. I didn't know, but you enjoyed them. Tears brimmed in Cassandra's eyes. You're not a victim here, Gloria finished. You're an accomplice. The final witness was Dr. Patel, the child psychologist Emma had hired. Based on your evaluation, how has this custody battle impacted Lily Caldwell? Dr. Patel nodded solemnly. Lily has demonstrated signs of anxiety, withdrawal, and conflicting loyalty. She deeply loves her mother and wants stability. Her father's actions, specifically the public betrayal and financial instability, have exacerbated her emotional distress. Would you say she's safer with her mother? Without question. Gregory's lawyer tried to object, but the courtroom's tone had shifted. It was clear. The story they had tried to spin had unraveled completely. It took the judge only 3 days to return a decision. Emma sat with her hands clasped tightly in her lap, Gloria beside her. Gregory and Cassandra sat across the aisle, no longer touching. Cassandra now wore the look of a woman realizing the cost of a golden promise built on someone else's ruin. The judge entered and began reading. In the matter of Caldwell versus Caldwell concerning the custody of minor Lily Caldwell and the distribution of marital assets. The court finds Mr. Gregory Caldwell in breach of fiduciary responsibility and guilty of deliberate asset concealment. Emma felt her breath catch. Full legal and physical custody is awarded to the mother, Ms. Emma Caldwell. Gregory lowered his head. The court also orders the return of all hidden assets to Ms. Caldwell, including those titled under Ms. Cassandra Vaughn's name. A sharp gasp escaped Cassandra. Furthermore, the court is referring Mr. Caldwell to the district attorney for potential fraud investigation. Emma closed her eyes. A tear slid down her cheek. Silent, dignified. 6 weeks later, the house was quiet. Emma stood at the center of her sun-drenched kitchen. Lily was at school. The scent of fresh coffee lingered. Her hands were no longer shaking. Her shoulders no longer hunched. Her lawyer called that morning with news. The fraud investigation was underway. Cassandra had retained criminal counsel. Gregory's reputation was in tatters. His face had been splashed across business journals under headlines like, CEO falls from grace, scandal, lies, and loss. He had lost the company. Investors fled. His new startup collapsed before it launched. Cassandra had moved out of their apartment. Emma had declined interviews, refused TV appearances, and turned down a book deal. She had gained something much more precious than fame: peace. That evening, Emma opened a small cedar box from her desk. Inside were unsent letters she had written to Gregory during their marriage, letters she'd never had the courage to send. She read one aloud. Dear Gregory, I hope you remember the sound of Lily's laugh when she first said, Daddy. I hope, deep down, that moment meant something to you. It did to me. Even now, after all you've done, I wish it had stayed real. She tore the letter in half and dropped it into the fireplace. She didn't need to send words anymore. She had spoken her truth in court, in the life she was rebuilding, and in the eyes of the daughter who still called her hero. Weeks turned into months. Emma started consulting again, on her terms. A new nonprofit offered her a leadership position in tech ethics and finance. She accepted. The position let her be home when Lily got back from school. Lily thrived, smiling more, drawing again. They danced in the kitchen, baked cookies on Sundays, and rebuilt their world from the ground up. One evening, Lily turned to her and asked, "Mom, are we going to be okay?" Emma kissed her forehead and smiled. "We already are." Outside, the sun dipped behind the trees, casting golden light across their new beginning. Gregory never went to prison, but he lost almost everything. Emma never pursued vengeance. She didn't need to. Her victory wasn't just legal or financial, it was in every step forward without bitterness, in every bedtime story, in every morning coffee brewed in peace. She was the woman who had been broken, then rebuilt stronger. And when the world tried to erase her worth, she reminded them, a woman doesn't need to scream to be heard. Sometimes she just needs to rise.